Marco Marranini here, who runs our Italian office and helps address our market for continental Europe. Marco, thanks for joining.
Thank you, Eric. Thanks for bringing the value along the company. I'm really happy to share with you what's going on in Italy. Probably one of the first countries that has been hit by the coronavirus more than 80 weeks ago. So Italy, along this period, Italy renews its being a country with a strong sense of togetherness and reinforce their participation in the national and also in local community. We faced a lot of phases along these 8 weeks. So people face anxiety and panic and feel the uncertainty of emergency when social distancing was adopted. And also the disruptive routine impacts every aspect of the daily life. So what we notice is that as staying home progressively becomes normality, people look for new ways to get entertained and the way to spend the time change. What we learned so far is that this period created in every human element self-improvement conscious. Customers are shifting interest toward practicalities of living life in a lockdown. So like they're taking the time to learn something harder and more time consuming, such as cooking or practicing indoor workout or yoga, even learning to play instruments and play video games. What we found is that because of the crisis, these moments are shared live on social media, and even influencers reinforce their online presence while new talents and new talent emerge. And the importance of brand get connected with the customers is extremely important because we see that the brands are following these trends and are adapting their approach to, let's say, the new normal. So shifting the marketing efforts more on online rather than on retail shop or standard commercial TV. And this is because customers are spending more time on social media and developing new product and adapting the new platform, and circumstancing is what the brands are looking for. And other things we are looking is that a lot of the focuses the brand are adopting are in online time support. So customer can organize tutorial on Instagram. The brand can connect with influencers to make live talks. And the idea is that the brand value is enhancing by tips and the way they can reuse the products. The way the coronavirus impact our social life and the way the brands communicate with the brands is also tangible in the fact that a lot of the commercial, a lot of the RTV and paid media that the brands are spending are related to their brand value. It's not only a matter of product placement or the way we and influencers experience the product of the brand, but now it's a matter of creating the value around the people thanks to the brand value and the product. So I think that influencers... Sorry?
Just a quick question for you on that. It'd be also interesting to get your take on sort of, when advertisers really were affected by the pandemic, right? We know that Italy, at least in respects to the US, was hit by, I'll restart that. We know that Italy in the US, Italy was impacted before the US was when it comes to coronavirus. But like when were the brands really impacted? What, like, if you had to sort of put a date or a week on it, when do you feel like brands realized it, and what was their initial reaction to the coronavirus from just a business standpoint?
It all happened by between the end of February and the first 10 days of March. And this is the window where the entire Italy realizes how strong and how devastated could be the coronavirus to the human body. The first reaction, as I was telling before, is that as people face anxiety and panic, at the same time, brand experienced the uncertainty of the emergency. There were a lot of misunderstanding about what the coronavirus can create panic among the people, and the way the coronavirus can even kill people. So what we face is that the brand at the beginning, they decided to stop every activity they were planning, no matter it's an online activity or any on-field promotion. But the reason behind that is that Italy was good enough and probably one of the first countries that adopted the entire lockdown. And this helped to save a lot of life. And this helps the brand to let their employees and customers feel free to stay home and also experience the way they can live their family in a stronger and safer way. What we realized at the end of March, after the coronavirus completely hit the entire Italy, is that brands starting understand what they can do once these will be over. So new consumption habits define the new marketing opportunities for and brands started understanding at the beginning of April the need to leverage their changing business opportunities. April was the month of still uncertainty, but a lot of brands can settle down and understand how to be proactive in terms of setting plans and recovery strategy once the lockdown would be less strong, as we can say, from mid-May. Even marketers who are looking at the smart use of the technology to regain online traffic, connect with customers in a new and innovative way. So I guess that from a commercial and business point of view, we're still suffering the impacts of the lockdown and the coronavirus crisis. But the experience and the feelings that now all the Italians our experiences are more positive than the beginning, because we knew the fear, and now this is the time of still being positive and understanding that we have to co-live with this. So from a business perspective, I can say, and I can guess that, So from a business perspective, I guess that many brands are restarting their plans almost as usual. Probably we will see slightly changes in terms of budget amount. I guess a lot of brands are now reinforcing their structure to see how they can spend their money and which are the most valuable way to gain value and to let people and customers feel safe in understanding these as the new normal life.
I think what's pretty interesting now too is, lockdowns are getting ready to be lifted. You mentioned, brands, budgets still being impacted to a level. What does the next 6 months look like if you had to guess?
I guess that probably the new and the two takes. No, restart. Sorry. I guess that there are two takes that brands can follow and are going to follow in the next months. First is the plan for the unplanned by understanding the current market position from a business perspective and also from a new customer's perspective. As I was telling before, the new normal life is starting now. So there are still no rules of what these can be, and there are no boundaries of what the brand can do. to create value in the customers and whatnot. And the second is to find different opportunities to leverage the business and keep using the web and the social media wisely. Understand how they can shift their customers' attention from on-field to online, and how they can create new experience path and opportunities for the brand, whether they are not be able to touch products.
Sense. I guess, are you seeing any strategies or any industries today that are really, doing well from just a marketing standpoint?
I can say that for obvious reason, the food and beverage industries is the industry that less suffered the impact of the coronavirus, while other businesses are still in the bubble. I'm not sure how strong travel and tourism can be reinforced from a marketing perspective, but I'm pretty sure that Italy is one of the best countries in the world, so for sure there will be value of the Italian citizen to discover and rediscover and appreciate and even work in terms of buzz and word of mouth about the beauty places we have in Italy. I guess pharmaceuticals, home care will gain a lot of power because self-prevention is going to be a trend along the year. While others like online grocery shopping, home delivery are leaving a boost too. And ultimately, I also consider the beauty and the fashion industries as some those that can restore their market position not easily but wisely.
Things that I was surprised with too is that beauty spends are still staying strong despite everyone staying at home. The obvious verticals that I expected to really do well from a marketing standpoint this time was CPG, specifically cleaning products, even though there's some sensitivity there around how to communicate it. Entertainment's an obvious one. Gaming is another obvious one, but beauty was one that wasn't so obvious to me.
Yeah.
And I was very surprised to see, in our data and kind of pretty much universally across our regions that that's an industry that's still been moving and going strong.
Yeah, I guess that one of the reason and one of the answers, I guess one of the answers that come out from these prediction is that the opportunities for brands to create a different communication strategy focused on self-care is something that they didn't predict maybe at the beginning of the year, because they could also introduce pre-orders promotion or create membership program in a way they can reinforce and reboost their CRM, while for obvious reason in Italy, a lot of these happens on field and online.
It's interesting. And in Italy, are you seeing on the consumer side people shopping for groceries online, or are people still mainly going in person?
We have hard habits that will not die because of the Italian tradition since the beginning of the era. So especially when you buy foods, people still love going at the supermarket or the grocery at the neighbor to touch foods and to buy foods because it's part of our culture. But what we found is that in the last 2 months, online grocery will have a boost. A lot of people follow their stay at home. So they still order some food at home. And even for the big supermarket chains, they improve and increase their online services. I guess it's going to be the trend for the next year and a half. But there's still a lot of, let's say, positive conflict for those inhabitants. They love the tradition and love experience the food and not only taste the food. And also
In
they're
that
going to
market.
replace the way we leave the restaurants and hanging out with friends, having a pizza. This is probably the hardest part that we're going to experience in the next 2 months. And also the industry are gonna have a lot of impact on that. So far is negative for obvious reason because Milan is lockdown and entire Italy lockdown. We'll see what's going on. Also, summertime will maybe increase the self-conscious in the people in respect the social distancing, but also try to come back to previous habits that we have in previous life.
Sounds like there are behaviors that are going to be adopted now and are adopted now, but that aren't necessarily going to carry on. For context, we're seeing a lot of behaviors across the board, like online shopping for groceries, cooking at home, that is forecast to really continue past COVID-19. But it sounds like in Italy, at least, the expectation is after this, people are going to return back to shopping in stores, given the culture and the importance around food that, and the sort of tactile experience of really selecting the ingredients, selecting all the components, and just enjoying that process.
Yeah, and also what the thesis behind this is that this is the moment for brands to strengthen their relationship with the customers, and also it's the moment to reinforce their permanent value. They need to understand which are the value that the customers really likes now in these uncertainty moments, and keep pushing on that element to let the people experience a new normal life. So that's why brands should advertise as normal, but focusing on the value and less on the product.
In that connection with the customers, as opposed to saying, hey, go buy our product as if nothing's changed. It's really an opportunity for brands to build a real connection with each of their customers that could last beyond the pandemic.
Yeah, totally agree with you. That's why it's so important to keep creating a trusting communication with the customers, because the high audience that now is connected with the social media and the, let's say, the low media access cost can leverage the benefit tomorrow when the audience would be lower, and the higher cost media would be affected, but it's going to be simpler to go to the market because you create a community of values, which is what the Italians are looking for right now, because we need them to create a new normal life based on values.
Any advice, Marco, that you'd want to share to any of the marketers or advertisers out there?
I would suggest brands to really need to understand and leverage their changing business opportunities. They need to look for a new smart way to use the technology, the way to push and gain online traffic, connect with customers, and also transform the experience that people can do in store in a way that they can experience the same values of the brand online. This is something that brands should really focus on, and also try to think to things out of the box, because this is the right moment to plan the unplanned.
Thanks
That's
for
my
making
take.
the time. Yeah, no, thank you. Thanks for making the time on this. And
Thank you.
it was great connecting on this Zoom call.
Yeah, you too. Stay safe.